Mysterious out-of-place artifacts, strange ancient ruins, who built these things and why?
And perhaps more importantly, when?
There's something very mysterious about this pillar in India, known as the Iron Pillar of Delhi. It seems impervious to rust, even after 1,600 years of being exposed to the elements. The pillar dates back to the Gupta period, around 375 to 413 AD, and the fact that it doesn't rust is pretty impressive. Building something like this would have been challenging without advanced technology and precise chemical treatments. Standing about 23 feet tall and weighing over 6 tons, the pillar was first erected in Udayagiri and later moved to its current location. It bears an inscription in Sanskrit praising a king named Chandra, believed to be Chandragupta II. The pillar has been exposed to harsh weather for centuries, but it's still mostly rust-free. It turns out that the iron used in the pillar was made of mesowite, which is a compound of iron, oxygen, and hydrogen which helps protect the iron from rusting, but the method they would have used to achieve this is still a mystery and makes some people wonder if certain ancient civilizations had access to technology far beyond their or even our time.
If you were to Google when the first battery was invented, you would be told that it was invented in 1800 by Alessandro Volta and John Stringfellow. Great name, by the way. But that would be wrong, because in 1938, archaeologists discovered the first true battery, which was actually created around 2,000 years ago. The batteries, made with clay jars and iron rods capable of producing more than a volt of electricity, were found just outside of Baghdad, Iraq. 3 were discovered, and since their discovery, nothing of the like has ever been found again. The exact origin of the batteries remains unclear, but what is clear is that the society that made them was either incredibly advanced or had help from someone from the future, perhaps even Volta and Stringfellow. And if that's the case, the answer Google gives you would be in fact correct. It's possible. Anything's possible.
The Saqqara Bird is a small wooden artifact that was found in an ancient Egyptian tomb near Saqqara. It's about 2,200 years old, and at first glance, it's a bird. But when you look a little closer, you might notice that it looks a lot like a model airplane. Unlike other bird statues from ancient Egypt, this one doesn't have legs, and its wings are shaped differently. It's a pretty unique design that just adds another layer of mystery to the history of ancient Egypt, which is already full of mysteries. Did ancient Egyptians know something about flying? Back in 1969, an Egyptian doctor suggested that the Saqqara Bird might be an ancient model of some sort of flying machine. People have even made replicas of it to see if it could fly, and some of these models do glide pretty well when launched. Now, most archaeologists think the thing was just a toy, but I mean, what if they did know more than we give them credit for? Or what if someone far in the future managed to pay them a visit, and some ancient Egyptian sculptor based this small wooden piece off of a strange, unexplained object they saw gliding overhead one day?
If Antarctica was discovered in January of 1820, then tell me, why did it show up on a map created in 1513? The Piri Reis map, to be exact, created by Turkish admiral and cartographer Piri Reis. While the map doesn't outright say the word Antarctica, many people believe the landmass located at the bottom right corner to be representative of the continent, about 34 million years ago before it became covered in ice. This was confirmed by Captain Lorenzo W. Burroughs of the US Air Force, who said that the landmass in the Piri Reis map accurately depicted the coast of Antarctica that is now currently hidden under ice. This is strange for a few reasons. 1. How did Piri Reis know about Antarctica? And 2. If Antarctica froze 34 million years ago and the map was made in 1513, how did Piri Reis know about its formerly subtropical climate without the use of modern day technology? Is this guy a time traveler, and if so, did he travel backwards or forwards to learn this information?
The London Hammer is one of the most famous out-of-place artifacts. It was found in 1936 in London, Texas, by a couple named Max and Emma Hahn while they were out exploring. They found the hammer embedded in a rock formation that was estimated to be around 100 million years old. The hammer itself looks surprisingly modern though. It has a wooden handle and a metal head, which, when examined, seems to be made of iron and steel, materials that weren't supposed to be around during the time the rock was formed. The rock surrounding the hammer was found to be from the Cretaceous period, a time when dinosaurs roamed the earth, long before humans or even advanced tools like this hammer were believed to have existed. There are some pretty wacky but fun ideas about the hammer, one being that it could be a remnant from a future civilization that somehow ended up in the past and accidentally left the tool behind.
Nuclear energy was invented on December 2nd of 1942, but the first nuclear reactor existed almost 2 billion years ago. How does that work? Well, I'll tell you. In 1972, a French factory was importing uranium ore from Africa's Gabon Republic when they stumbled across something fascinating. A 2 billion year old large-scale nuclear reactor that was likely in operation for some 500,000 years. Now, while some scientists claim the reactor to be nothing more than a fluke natural phenomenon, others, such as Dr. Glenn T. Seaborg, former head of the United States Atomic Energy Commission and Nobel Prize winner for his work in synthesis of heavy elements, believes the reactor to be man-made because, in his words, in order for uranium to burn in a reactor, very precise conditions are needed. Conditions that he does not believe just somehow happened in nature. The question here is, did someone go back in time to create this, or did someone go forward in time to spread the good word about the endless possibilities of nuclear energy? You tell me.
Back in 2012, a strange cylindrical object was discovered by residents of a small rural village in Siberia. The object weighed hundreds of pounds and was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Village residents hooked it up to a trailer and hauled it back to town, where they alerted the authorities, who came and picked it up to be studied. Now, the villagers, as well as folks on the internet, started speculating as to what this mysterious object was and where it came from. Of course, space was being thrown around in almost every conversation. Was this part of some secretive spacefaring government technology? Was it alien in origin? Well, an official at the Russian Space Agency soon made a statement that the object had no relation to space technology of any kind, but if it wasn't part of a spacecraft of some kind, then what was it, and how did it end up there? Nobody knows.
For a while, it was widely accepted that the first spark plug was invented in 1839, but all that changed in 1961 when 3 individuals stumbled across a much older version of a spark plug encased in a geode in California while out searching for items to sell in their gem and gift shop. After the discovery, a geologist dated the device to be at least 500,000 years old, if not older. While some people believe the device to have been a modern spark plug encased in a quick-forming concretion rather than a geode, there is not enough concrete evidence to support that theory. And so many people continue to believe the device to be an incredibly advanced relic from ancient times. Or perhaps it is a modern-day spark plug that was placed in ancient times as some kind of Easter egg for the future. Either one is pretty cool.
Take a look at this formation here. It certainly seems to be ancient, and it is. It's also incredibly mysterious. It's called the Por-Bazhyn, and ever since it was discovered, archaeologists and historians have been trying to figure out who built it and why. Situated in a lake in southern Siberia, the ancient structure, which was discovered in 1891, seems to have been built around 1300 years ago. It's one of Russia's strangest historical landmarks. There's just no concrete information about its purpose, its builders, and the rationale behind choosing such an isolated location to build it. It's in an area well away from any settlements or trade routes. It's also lacking a heating system, which is strange because of the harsh winters at its high altitude location. The layout of the ruins seems to have a bit of a Chinese influence though, almost like city palaces from the Tang dynasty. The neat grid arrangement of smaller houses around the inner courtyard is similar to many Tang Buddhist monasteries, but there's still no definitive evidence as to what this place was. Was it a monastery, a palace complex, a fusion of both, or could it possibly have been built by beings not from this world?
You know what suggests that time travel exists? Ancient texts estimated to have been written in 400 BC talking about how time travel exists. Specifically, Mahabharata, an ancient piece of Hindu text that alludes to the phenomenon. On numerous occasions, the 1,500-page script mentions incidents in which individuals traveled through time and experienced something called time dilation, a physical phenomenon in which time moves differently for different observers in the same inertial frame. Time travel has also been mentioned in the Quran, written around 250 CE, the Odysseus II, a Christian text written around 420 CE, the Urashima Taro, a Japanese text written in the 18th century, and many other pieces of ancient literature. The concept is far from new, but if time travel is real, then time is an illusion, and new is just a word that, in the scheme of things, doesn't really matter.
Alright, we hope you've enjoyed this latest Indiana Jones style archaeological episode of Most Amazing Top 10, and we'll catch you in the next one.